Thursday. I just pulled my GoPro out. I haven't used it in a while. I'm gonna pair this video with I started to do a video last week after I got the hydraulic issue fixed, or I didn't get it, Caterpillar did, in the 501. And then we got going on the next job, and I lost the AC pump. I tried to get kind of a video of replacing that. I got a little bit of it. I might throw it in here, so if I do, it's not going to be like fantastic. I'll show you where the AC pump is, and I talked a little bit about it, but it was kind of hard. It probably would have been a lot easier if I had my GoPro hooked up, but I didn't. So anytime you're doing something like that, kind of try to film it with your with a GoPro or something. It's not going to work that well, just because you can't have it in your hand. Anyways, yesterday we moved the processor and processor and buncher over to the next job. It's in the same town, so that's pretty handy. And this is more of a overstory removal. I'll explain a little bit about it, and kind of it's still wicked dry. Fortunately, and I'll point some out why I say that's fortunate for us in this job. It's because this job, I think, ordinarily would be really wet. And it's not a swamp, but this is very, very wet ground. And not only can you tell by the ground, but a few of the wood types you can see out in there. Well, it's gonna probably be hard to tell, but that bush right to the left of the head is, I think they call it ironwood or something, but it only grows in this wet ground. And all this popple, there's not a lot of popple, but there is popple in here. And anytime you have popple, it's probably going to be a little wetter, but more than popple, if you have a lot of basswood and brown ash. And I'm gonna see if I can find I left that, but that is basswood. Basswood's, I don't know how to describe it. It's somewhere in between, like a popple. It's a real soft, it's definitely not a heavy wood. I wouldn't, and you don't, like, you'll see stands of popple, but you won't see stands of basswood. Like, I don't know why. It just likes wet in certain areas. So this is kind of one of those jobs where there's really nothing to thin. It's kind of just a bunch of junk, which with the cut to length, it's not too bad. Like hardwood and popple that size, it's good processor wood. It's just a good job to clean up, and I've talked about it in the past, but having this buncher kind of makes you able to cut this wood and produce some good volume, where if you had to cut this off the stump, it would be a little bit more challenging. You wouldn't get the volume out of this piece, and you wouldn't get the production. Only because like all this bushy stuff that you can't really just rip it up. It's it's a lot easier to deal with the buncher, but it's still can be kind of a pain. And you almost, I don't have any trouble with the processor, but you'll see I don't separate out some of it, only because it's makes more of a mess if I just kind of take the head and swipe it out of the way while I'm bunching, where that little handful of brush right there I can just grab with the knives and throw it out of the way. You'll kind of see it, like if any of you guys watch like the Thomas Johnson YouTube channel, they don't have cut to length, but with their loaders, you can see them always kind of dragging the brush out of the wood. It's kind of the same idea. And if there gets to be an area where I bunch too much brush out, then I'll lay it off to the side of the trail, where then I can grab it with the processor and set it crosswise. Sometimes I'll chop it up, and a little more flotation. So, and I kind of, there's not much to leave here, but what I am leaving is a lot of the oak, like right there. There's no logs in it, so it's a good kind of seed tree. Or see, like right there, when I come to that, I'll grab that bunch and put it crossways and probably cut it in half. It's just really, really wet ground, but it's really, really dry right now. So that's good timing. I don't know what this fall is going to be like. It's hard to predict, I guess. You might think that it's going to be a nice dry fall, but you never know. And we will just have to see. Time will tell. And but anyways, Wes is still over on the last drop forwarding, and I'm taking advantage of being here. And he probably won't be here till Monday, which will be fine. And I think the last job took me, I don't think it took me 2 full days with this buncher. And we're gonna end up cutting probably, somewhere is around 20 loads of wood. So it'll be, you know, it was decent wood, but that's pretty, I think that's pretty good. So, and that bigger tree I just cut is a basswood. That little one hanging off, that's basswood too. There's really no, to my knowledge, the only thing that I know that they do with basswood, other than just, you know, sending it to a pulp mill, is like people who do wood carving. Like if you want to carve little little like creature or whatever you want to carve, objects, little things, animals, like basswood. And I remember in like, if you were in like high school in like a plot, like physics, like I wasn't smart enough to be in the actual physics class, so I was like in applied physics, which is, I don't know what the difference is, but where like my senior year they did like you had to build a model of a scale to a bridge, and they give you these like 1/4-inch square, they look like chopsticks, and you had to build a bridge to scale, and then they would hang weights off it and see how much weight it would hold, and then that's how you'd win or whatever. It was a little contest, and that was made out of basswood, just because it's like really easy to cut with a razor or to whittle, and so that's the only thing I know that they do with basswood, other than just hucking it into the hardwood pulp. You can't burn it for firewood. It doesn't make boards, so I think they do some, like I was talking about, whittling or woodwork, but that's as far as I know. I don't think they do anything else. So, but fun fact, or really boring, popple, they do cut logs out of it. I think they use it for like the back of cabinets, probably some other things I don't really know about, but generally popple was always, at least around here, was something they paid more, that they made a higher grade paper with. Popple groundwood, like magazine paper, glossy paper, which has a kind of that market it was already slowly dying, but the pandemic has really put the kibosh to it, because You know, people aren't flying as much, people aren't out buying that occasional magazine, and so that's kind of, I don't know if I'd say it's put a nail in the coffin, but it certainly hasn't helped. Anyways, trying to think if there's anything else new that's going on, and we're pretty much just chugging along here. This job's about 50 acres. In the back there's a big wetland, so there's a 250 acre buffer, and that is going to put a damper on about 12 to 15 acres of, you cut 40%, so that's kind of a pain, but we will deal with it. And I'm going to turn around here and start heading the other direction. It's just kind of a ramble, I guess. That pink ribbon back there is the corner of the property line, and this landowner wants me to cut a swath about as wide as I can reach each way with this, so that it, I don't know, the budding landowner, so that it makes a clear, distinct line between his property and the other guys. So, you know, it's kind of like whatever. I don't really care if that's what you want. That's what we'll do, and well, we'll see. This piece will be interesting. It's, I think if you're watching me cut, it's not really great wood. I don't know how it looks on camera, but I think this is one of those jobs where this buncher is gonna really make it surprising how much volume we cut out. Anyways, so I'll try to get some more video. I really haven't done much with the GoPro. I'd like to set Wes up so you guys can ride along with him with the new forwarder. I really haven't done much from inside the cab of that thing. We haven't, it's just, you know, I gotta give it to the guys that do put videos out more regular than me, and that are good and enjoyable to watch. It's a lot more effort than you would think to take the time to get a video out that's informational or entertaining. It's not an easy task, and my problem is I get busy with work, and if, you know, if we're having equipment troubles, and it's not that I don't want to do videos, it's, I guess it's that between being distracted and trying to deal with a problem, I kind of lose the drive sometimes to make videos. Those are probably some of the more interesting things than just me on here kind of talking about this job. So I'll try to be more cognizant of that, not guaranteeing anything, but I do like making them for you guys. We're over 900 subscribers now, so we're getting closer to that 1,000 mark. I appreciate that. And like I said, trying to get a few more out. We on a new job, it's a little bigger. The last one was only 20 acres, and like I said, it only took me 2 days to cut it, and that presents a big issue in itself, just because you're moving and starting and finishing a job all real close together, and that if things don't go just right, that can present its own issues, and it's more just logistics and production and stuff like that. But my original, that last job was good wood. It was just timing and where I had, if I hadn't had that pump issue with my processor, it probably would have gone off without a hitch, and I wouldn't be complaining about it at all, which I shouldn't be complaining about anything, because, you know, we're doing all right. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment, and we will